Welcome. Thank you so very much for being here. Welcome to Thursday Book Launch. Don, I'm going to turn it right over to you.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, my friends. Thank you for coming, Tanya, Kate, Marcia, of course, Mary Ellen. From the prologue, A New World. I gashed my knee, my head too, maybe a broken rib. Someone at work offered a bed so he could check me through the night. As a kid, I often fell, a stone under a skate, a bike crash. When a scrape bled, or that time they found me head against a tree root, no one said a word or seemed to care. I didn't either. If they see my frailty, though, how long will I hold my job? How much safer to look good now that I'm old? At the Giant Eagle, an old man stares at the pay pad till the clerk presses the button for him. I use cash so I won't look like that. Outside, they walk by laughing, hand in hand, or just looking at each other. I don't notice their color, only that they're young and have accents I don't understand. At the lotto counter, we wait, our faces and posture American, surrendered to hope and chance, like trees. We could do something with life in it, look at each other, or at least at those faces on the street. Is that why we hate them, saying what they please, acting like they're free? Lately, people talk faster than I can listen, like I'm sitting on a bench and they're running by. Maybe I'm listening too deep to keep up, because under the talk, I see the vitality of their thought and hear our shared humanity. It's getting worse and I'm often near tears, but it feels like freedom. From To Save a Life, Do No Harm. No resolve, I cannot betray. Enlightenment. Sunday morning surgery. Radiation had saved her, left her neck atrophied, skin like paper, withered, carotid, now near closed, downstream clot pulsing, poised to kill. The breathing tube is wrong. Their voices burst out, panicked. That fragile skin and vessel, bulging white, scope blade, hooking down her throat. I call to the surgeon, get in here before they kill your patient. He pushes them aside, removes, then replaces the tube. Her signs turn lifeward. Another skirmish won. Small victory. Battle fatigue. The surgeon carves, dissects, sears the bleeding. The anesthetist, numbness, paralysis, stupor. My part, to hear and report each limb's electric murmurs, the brain's muffled replies, mixed with the whine of machines, arrogance, fear. We fight for normal life on waking. We trust normal will return for us. They are out there, our charges, 10,000 who woke well. Those who did not, I don't recall their faces, just the smell of blood and burning, the ancient charge, uphold life, Sick wonder when the lamp goes dark. Why did I have to see that? To save a life in sickness and in health. That's the name of this section. Surprise. Each morning I draw a breath. Bob and Autumn. Autumn's talent brought them to Pittsburgh. She ran the seizure unit at McGee. It was Bob's idea that we might work together. She died just after the Boston bombing. Bob's son had been there. He was on crutches at the viewing. A line of us greeted Bob. When he saw me, he burst into tears. Bob was arrested 2 months later. He killed Autumn with cyanide. My wife is gone too. Her 25,000 per diem ended with morphine on my consent. They billed $500,000, then sent me a notice. We forgive your debt. You don't owe a thing. Bob got life without parole. I'm in love again. I know there's a difference between us. I haven't found what that is. From America, land that we love. Truck packs race in slow motion, shredded tread, bright fog, roadkill, tunnel mouth. Somebody to love. Jefferson Airplane, 1968. The night Bobby Kennedy died, we were all wounded. And the sick certainty, nukes in Nixon's hands. Martin Luther King, I hardly knew who he was. And not till Denzel's movie did I know Malcolm X had even lived. But when Gracie Slick burst out of the radio at that Boston crossroads, streets at all angles, big as a football field, no lights, no signs, I just sat there. I feared for Obama and Hillary, so bullish, sex like a target on her chest. Brady and Reagan, it hardly mattered. And now the beasts, Pence and Kushner, lined up next. Tears are running down your breast. A Memorial Day poem. Patriot Act 3 times. The Patriot Act was signed into law on October 26, 2001, 6 weeks after 9/11. The United States invaded Iraq on March 20, 2003, 17 months later. The Department of Justice's first priority is to prevent future terrorist attacks. September 11, 2019. Colin Powell, our best and brightest, sold our self-respect, 20 billion in war work for Cheney's cronies. 300,000 fought, 400,000 of theirs. 5,000 died, 30,000 of theirs, and 100,000 innocents. We embrace 9/11's outrage, excuse for freedoms surrendered. We and our tormentors bound as one in fear, delirium, and dogma. We covet our portion of hatred. We, the people, may we forget. America the beautiful still cowed by 19 dead felons. From To Save a Life, Never Forget. Not my nightmare. I saw the pawnbroker in college, a family picnic in a spotless German wood, the growl and squeal of engines and brakes, soldiers climbing from the trucks, the father led in chains through a warehouse, another father dragged from the table, tortured and set to work in a Baghdad prison, another cop, the wrong door, another black teenager shot dead, a glimpse of his nude wife on a gurney, men pointing and haggling, the son on another, men pointing and haggling, the daughters calling out and screaming, another daughter sold for breeding, another wife in a fine house. I have lived that in a dream since, and since I was a child, the same trucks at the same curb, the same growls and the same screams. I have always feared that even here in America, the trucks will come someday for me, but that's not my nightmare. Another news flash, flak jackets and rifles, another sick certainty, pure men of faith. I never noticed that anywhere in the world. If you're not white, they come any day. You're not male, it's every day. And I'd like to read a new poem that fits in here. Lot's wife died nameless for being unmale. A young white man killed 8 last week to save himself from temptation. 7 were women. Hyun Jung Grant, Sun Cha Kim, Yang Ai Wei, Zhao Ji Tan, Sun Chung Park, Dao Yu Feng, Delana Ashley Yon, and Paul Andre Michel. No one was there. We shopped today at the Pious Bookshop, bought Seder plates for the kids, packed in a fresh pizza box with secondhand bubble wrap. Passover is this weekend. They had coffee mugs and fridge magnets, skull caps with slogans. We are stronger together and no place for hate. As if it was this morning. I remembered passing security for the funeral, the line blocks long down Darlington Road. 11 unorthodox killed at the Tree of Life. I longed for the others, the pious, to be with us together down Darlington Road and at the cemetery later, their beards, black coats, and sit-sit, but no one was there, as if you're not Orthodox, you're not a Jew, as if it matters that the murdered are.
Oh, Don. That was powerful. I'm so glad you read that last poem in particular. If people want to unmute and clap, please do, because I know I really need you to hear. Don, that was amazing. And I know you're going to be pretty surprised with what all's in the chat section. I'll read through some of it, and I'm getting some people out of the waiting room. Christy, no, Karen's not in there.
Okay,
Yeah.
she says she's trying to come in. She'll pop back up in a minute.
Okie doke. Teresa said, bravo, Don. We trust normal will return. My wife is gone with 25,000 per diem, growl and squeal of engines. Great storytelling perspective, Don. I did want to also say there's a couple lines that almost like 3 or 4 people said at the same time, just how much it resonated. Yeah, Mary Ellen said wonderful reading, but I wanted to go back to something that I thought you should hear, because I thought this was fabulous. Let me see if I can find it. It was something that you said, Angela. Don's ability to observe with awareness of all we brings to his, our own looking. And then Susanna added to that, yes, and the basic humanism. And I think that that's one of the first things that we really hear in your poems and in your reading is this keen observation, the exact words that are just so powerful. And then also just this empathic, yes, wide-ranging humanism, just a deep being with other people in moments of pain. I just really want to say thank you for that. I almost feel like saying thank you for witnessing, thanks for being present, and then thanks for putting it to us. Yeah, you're clapping, Angela. Yes. And if people have questions for Don, please feel free to jump in, because I know I have questions for like what your writing process is. And also, you know, how do you stay present in these moments with such grace? I mean, that's how I feel when I hear you read your work. If that made sense, Don.
Well, how do I stay present? I don't. I mean, the poems are written afterwards.
Okay.
You know, I mean, and they have to steep. Now,
And
I
they
don't
have,
know. They have to steep like
yes.
tea.
Yeah, I can see that.
I don't know about grace, but I mean, one thing is to pick a little piece. There's no way to capture the whole thing of anything with a poem or any, you know.
Yeah, I did want to say the one, yeah, Kate said, people talk faster than I can listen. Yeah, that was fabulous. And then John, I noticed you wrote damn underneath of that. And Angela, you were saying this is one of my favorite poems in the collection. I'm in love again. I know there's a difference between us. I haven't found what that is. And what's ironic is 4 of us commented on that same ending and just how powerful it was, Don. So I thought you should hear. And then also Fear, Delirium, and Dogma, Mary Ellen. I noticed that you caught that as really resonating. Did you want to, could you talk about the cover for choosing, you know, that you chose for Discovery? I know that it's an artist out of LA.
Yeah, the cover is, we were at the Fine Arts Work Center in Provincetown for a week, and someone we met there gave me this print. Just gave it to me. Wow. And I've been staring at it for years. And I initially wrote a haiku, well, sort of a haiku to go with it. Let's see. Bright night sky, great migration, streets on fire. And then I wrote a poem to go with it too, which, if you'll allow, I'd kind of like to read.
That's what I was going to ask you. Would you read it?
It's timely. It's a Memorial Day poem because the 100th anniversary of the events in the poem falls on Memorial Day this year.
Wow.
That familiar comfort. The river at Port Chicago was pink in the dawn glare. Strangely like that night, they fled for their lives. Biplanes spotlit by burning buildings, kerosene bombs bursting on the roofs, clubs and rifles, white boys and their fathers, beasts hunting little Africa for black runners. Do you know this story? The Tulsa pogrom of 1921? 6,000 black people jailed, no whites, the Greenwood ghetto burned to the ground, no insurance ever paid, no crime ever charged, the dead uncounted. I never knew it till today. I bear that shame, small price for my privilege. From this day, I forswear that familiar comfort, the cowardice of forgetting.
Holy smokes. Thank you for reading that, Don. God, those last two lines, holy smokes. You know, and I just want to point, Joan, what you wrote is just so in keeping, I think, with what you just read, Don. Joan just wrote, Don is willing to go to the bad places for us. Would you read those last two lines again, if you don't mind?
Sure. From this day, I forswear that familiar comfort, the cowardice of forgetting.
Thank you. Oh, man. Wow, that's amazing. Wow, Don, thank you so very much. Well, I have other questions, but I want to make sure. And Karen, it's good to see you. I see you now. Hey. Does anybody have any questions? John, jump in.
So I was lucky enough to spend a couple of days with Denise when she visited Cleveland for a poetry festival, and I volunteered to be a driver, and I got to drive her around, and she was a remarkable poet, but just a remarkable person, just such a pleasant joy to be with. I just kind of wondered how much she influenced your poetry, and how much your poetry has changed since those initial days at MIT going forward.
Well, she didn't really influence my poetry at all. I didn't write much when I knew her, and I didn't read much either. I just loved Denise and wanted to be around her. Margot was there in those days too, and maybe she could say something, because I'm sure she did influence Margot's writing, because Margot's been writing all this time.
Well, I mean, I've been thinking about Denise a lot recently, and in those days she was so involved with just going to the anti-war, demonstrations with us. I mean, she really believed that life was a classroom. We never ever met in a classroom. Remember that, Don? We always met in each other's apartments or her place. Or, I mean, she was just the most incredible human being. She had the most amazing laugh and the most amazing voice. I mean, just, you have to hear a recording of her to really appreciate how incredibly brilliant she was. Anyway, she was a great teacher. She really was, I think, in every way. I think she influenced everyone's life. Almost, I don't know who wasn't I mean, my life was totally changed by her. I'm sure Don's was, Mark Pollock's was, Arthur Zay, who won the National Book Award in Poetry last year. I mean, he was influenced. Everyone's life changed after we took the workshop with her. She was such a profound influence in every way.
Thank you for sharing that, Margot. And Don, thanks for drawing her in. And Don, there was something I wanted to come back to because, I know there was a period of time where you weren't writing or publishing as much, but, that's, I was curious about that. Levertov.
Yeah, I mean, I stopped writing. I mean, I never really started writing. And then about 10 years ago, I started to write because the stuff in my life was driving me to write. The stuff that I wrote, that I read to you, Bob and Autumn, and, I mean, it helps to write stuff down. I was doing other stuff, I mean, I didn't know I could write. And I'm going to post a link in the chat, which is to a reading that Denise gave at the University of Arizona in 1973. She reads, I think, 10 poems. And you might want to just click on that and save the page in your browser. It's worth going back to and listening. The poem that I've sort of zeroed in on was The Day the Audience Walked Out on Me and Why, where she laughs. And, Margot mentioned it. And there's another wonderful,
I feel that having been writing all my life, I have.
We got a preview with Mary Ellen. Thank you. Oh, don't worry about it, Mary Ellen. I'm glad you're excited, and thank you, Don. That's awesome. And I wanted to come to something Angela said. Don tells the story with conviction, and it is clear where he stands, but he never relieves himself of accountability. I admire and strive for that.
Well, yeah. I mean, I'm a white man. Like, I'm supposed to stand up and take the blame. I mean, it's on us.
Speaking of which, one of your lines that resonated so much was, and if you're female, it's every day. And I know yes, if you're not male, it's every day. And like 3 of us immediately put that in there. Yeah, Joan's clapping. No, a powerful thing. And I was like, wow, it's just so amazing.
Yeah, I made a list of the number of generations that you can identify generational trauma perpetrated against people, Asians, and Jews, Arabs, and the longest is women. It's 100,000, well, 10,000 generations up until today. Half the people in the United States didn't get the vote for the first 130 years or whatever it was. I mean, it's so obvious.
Tanya, and somebody just, Kate, I think this is another beautiful way and powerful way of putting it. Don speaks to all people with clarity of history and to their suffering, allowing each to weep. Wow. Thank y'all.
I wanted to ask Don, what are you working on now?
Well, I finished a chapbook, and I don't think anybody's going to publish it, but it's about my experience building rockets and satellites, and I think you've seen it, Margot, and I've started to work on a large piece, larger than one of the pieces in the book is entitled Cassandra, Daughter of Troy. And I think it's the best thing I've written, although it's not the most important thing I've written. I think the that familiar comfort is probably the most important one. But I'm writing one about Draupadi. Draupadi was a character in the one of the two great epics from India. It's called the Mahabharata. She had 5 husbands, and the story is just out there. But I'm researching that now, and I'll probably never do it, but that's what I'm working on.
Great question, and I love the answer. Yeah, no, I think the journey in and of itself down rabbit holes is of interest, and what draws us we follow. Who knows what comes of it? But now I'm curious to have you read something from that chat book. I'm sorry. About rockets. I kind of want to hear something. If you would read something from that, I would be delighted. And I just wanted to remind people that we do have open mic, and I encourage everybody to feel invited and a part of by reading something. I know Christy has a book coming out, so I'll expect something from that book.
All right.
Oh, good. You already wrote that too, because you knew I was going to ask you to. Don, did you find something from that? Because now I'm super curious.
Yeah.
Hey.
I'll read one of the short pieces. The title of the book is When Danger is Past. I'll read, let's see. An alternate universe. We built rocket payloads for the vacuum of space, immaculate. Our test systems were just as clean, spark welded stainless plumbing, scrubbed with solvents, blasted with dry nitrogen, then pumped down and baked red hot. I apprenticed with Jim Murphy, an old man, a widower, like I am now. He often spoke of his life in the church since her passing, stained glass window repairs, broken sewer pipes, how his watch ran backwards that time he went with another woman.
Oh, it's awesome. Thank you for reading that. Yeah, no, I think that'll be picked up somewhere. That is awesome. I've got a couple people that have agreed to read for open mic. Can we take a moment once again to thank Don and to celebrate discovery? Thank you, Don. That's awesome.
Thank you all. Thank you all so much for being
So
here.
you're going to ask Don how we can get an autographed copy.
Thank
right?
you, John, for reminding me. I was indeed. So we put up the link to the website, but what is the best way, Don, to get an autographed copy of your book?
Well, one way, which is a good way, and it'd be good for me too, is if you go to my website, you can find links to buy the book. And what I'll do is contact me and I will send you the errata pages with my signature. How about that? If that's okay.
I love it.
If that's not okay, then just write to me and I'll send you a book. It's fine. But I'd rather, and of course I'll send you the errata too.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'll put my email in the chat.
Perfect. Thank you, Don. That'll be a good way. Yeah, Kate, that was the same. His watch went backwards when he was with another woman. That was a great line.
I would like to make a comment to Don. I know he's putting in his email, but I'm so glad that he does reach out across our 7 continents for how we are striving for our humanity and kindness and peace. But that he wrote today, Don, I appreciate this 100-year anniversary of the Tulsa massacre. And it was 70 years from the time the people were evicted through the Trail of Tears out of Alabama into Oklahoma. And it was the mixed nations, including the African Americans, that all established and founded Tulsa. So 70 years later, after they did the Trail of Tears to Tulsa, they discovered oil, these oil reserves 15 miles outside of Tulsa. And African American town of the Greenwood was the most successful town in the USA. And then when the oil was found, the state of Oklahoma became the most successful state of wealth. And that was 2000, excuse me, that was 5 years before the Tulsa massacre, I believe. And the Tulsa massacre was from the air, from bombs, from fires, just absolute, you're out of here. You'll never be around here. This is ours, our oil, white people. And so it was after 1921, there was never an official investigation for 75 years. 75 and 21 was 1996 until there was an official investigation. So this poem that you read just resonated with me because this fella, John Kozlowski, who was born in a refugee camp in Germany and came with his parents that had been in concentration camps, he just posted this whole history of our struggle for humanity with knowledge and truth. And Dawn, from the very beginning, I heard you speak, you bring knowledge and truth. And every time you read about the Tree of Life Synagogue massacre, I cry with you. And then each time you speak to each of us, and that you open us all up to continue to speak the truth. Thank you, Dawn. Bless you.
Perfectly put, Kate. Wow. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Kate. And thank you, Don, for inspiring that. Yeah, Barbara just wrote, thank you, Kate. No, it's well spoken. Really important. Thanks, Kate. Oh, I did want to let everybody know who I have down for open mic. Please let me know if I've missed somebody. Because I try to, yes, Mary Ellen just wrote, you open us all up. I think that's key. I have Christy, Angela, Martina, John, Joan, Tanya, and Susanna. Do I have everybody? Oh, Teresa. Okay.
Teresa. Yeah, I wanted to say thank you again to Tanya for coming. I hope everyone will look for Tanya's book, The War Still Within.
Oh, yes. Yes.
It's very important. It's an important book. It has real stature. And it's, I mean, it's wonderful poetry, but
Great book.
it's a poetry about important things.
And just to dovetail with that, Don, when you're reading, if you have a book out, could you please hold it up and let people know where they can get it so that we keep really open lines of communication on how we can support each other. It's hard enough to get books out there in the best of times, and these are difficult times. So Tanya, if you will remember to show us a cover of The War Within, that would be, thank you. All right, I'm going to turn it over. If you do not want to be recorded for open mic, please let me know and I will pause it. But if not, we'll continue on. Christy, I have you up first.
Okay, can everybody hear me? Okay. My chapbook, Finding Her, will be out with Finishing Line Press, hopefully later this year. This poem is in the book. It's very, very old, and I've never read it before out loud, so this will be interesting for me. Arid harvest at high tide. Curls of smoke dance above a glass of Chardonnay. Cool breeze ruffles strands of honeyed wheat falling upon my shoulders. Crashing waves, a siren song. Still, peace lurks just beyond my fingertips. Wide delve answers, swept beneath a surface of perpetual change. Thank you.
Christy. Oh, I love all the senses invoked in that poem.
Thanks.
Christy. Angela, we get to celebrate your book, and you got the cover behind you.
That's it, because the books are in the closet.
That,
Maybe I
every
should
girl's
change.
out. Every girl is out, and if someone doesn't have one, you should just reach out to me, and I'll get you one. We'll talk about it. This is not from that. It's I think a lot about naming and language and words, and who gets to name things and what words mean. And I'm particularly interested in color and how much meaning each color brings with it. If yellow means daughter, seed of the corn, bumblebee, pineapple, marigold, flaxen flight of the monarch, songbird, warbler, hooded morning, and Nashville. If we'd never known orange, could we know yellow? Burden of cowardice, of fear, of betrayal, sour of lemons, infection on the roof of my mouth. The sound of yellow chasing it all away. Rum, rum, rum. Of 10 petals of fire, warrior, lustrous gem, spinning between belly button and breastbone. Arch of cobra, prise it open. 4 fingers breath above the navel stirs the roar. When it's valuable, we name it gold. Waters named and translated. The demarcation of compromise. Color. Yellow bellied, yellow throat. How did yellow get done this way? The dichotomy of color cloaked. Yellow, the color of fray, of worn, of dust gathered, of kept, of longing, the smell of no rain. Candles flame, burns too small to harm. The color of a father's letters, aging in a box, corners split by time.
oh, thank you, Angela. Holy smokes, I love that.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's just beautiful. And somebody wrote down the demarcation of compromise. Mary Ellen, yeah, pointing that was lovely. Thank you so much, Angela. Martina, we're coming to celebrate you, and I hope you're reading from your book.
Yes, my new book, I Am the Rage. And actually, I'm going to read the anchor poem. I am the rage. I am the rage whirling just beneath the surface. I am the dream deferred again. I am the promises needed and repeated, but never kept. I am the air between light and dark, fueling flames that burn, but can neither be consumed nor satisfy its own abiding hunger. I am the glowing embers you continue to poke and prod with meanness that bubbles over onto the streets. I am the ravenous appetite to destroy something, anything. I am the ever-present clanking chains in the belly of the cargo hold, struggling to love myself, a thing you have taught me to loathe. I am the dismal days and inky skies. I am the niggardly feeling that there is not enough, will never be enough. Money, land, freedom, education, life to satisfy us all. I am the outrage that flares every time you say something foolish like, I thought you were already free. I am the disappointment that breathes hot and silent every time I am dismissed, discharged, dishonored, cast aside, counted as worthless or meaningless. I am the melody that lies inside every Negro spiritual that sings praises of diminishing hopes in this life and a brighter, fairer world in the next. I am the mother who wields the belt that cuts both ways, that beats my children in hopes that you will spare their lives. I am the salty tears of anxious mothers, frightened each time her child crosses the threshold, praying for a return that is not guaranteed, like payment of some impossible garnishee on the lives we want for them. I am the furthest point from you, thrashing about in the sea of doom. I am the dark fiber that runs through our shared history that will not allow you to forget, a constant reminder to us both that I can never go home, can never find home. I am the rage running unbridled through the streets. I am the fire this time. I am the rapacious thirst seeking justice for all on these dusky days and obsidian nights. I am the rage that lives within the powder keg of unfulfilled lives awaiting the spark. I am the rage. I am the lost sheep. I am the muted prayer that we will see each other clearly one day.
Mm.
Thank you.
Thank you, Martina.
That's what I mean by stature. That book also is an important book to own and read. And I think Angela's is as well.
Mm.
I think actually, I mean, I'm in trouble talking about this at all, but I feel like I feel like I should apologize for comparing one book with another. But I think anyway.
No, I think it's very important to celebrate voices. And I want to point out that to get I Am the Rage, Martina has put, the link. So thank you for reading that. When we saw the cover, I knew immediately I had to hear the poem I Am the Rage.
Thank you.
Delivered. Oh my God, I have chills still. Oh, smokes. John, I'm heading to you next. Whew.
Oh, all right. I'm going to change things up a little bit. I apologize for breaking the mood a little bit.
Mm.
This is one of those poems about writing poems, which I'm sure we've all written at some point. An unclosed parenthesis. 1. Some poems matter only for the future poems hiding within them. 2. Poems with strong words offer safe captivity, allowing us to disappear. 3. Poems without form may dangerously spiral, exposing us to unburnt desires. 4. When you are writing a poem, in reality, you are writing 2 poems. One is the poem you are writing. The other is the poem about writing the poem you're writing. 5. When I face myself in the mirror, I'm no longer on my own. Regarding me, there, unblinking, in the beveled edge, a poem. Thanks.
I love that. That was wonderful, John. Made me think of also kind of like an Ars Poetica, but also an Ars Poetica for editing. That was fascinating. Heading to you, Joan, next. I've lost you. Where are you?
Here I am.
There you are. Okay.
Okay, this is also a change of tone. In the hallway of the hospice facility, the night nurse asks, "Have you considered PT for your mother?" "What's the point of PT? She can't even feed herself." "No, PT, pillow therapy. A lot of families inquire about it. We laugh, and she lays a hand on my wrist, not to take my pulse, but to link us for a moment, daughters of mothers. My pulse slows. I resume my vigil beside the helpless, snoring figure. This afternoon, my mother froze out the hospice chaplain, turned her head away from his offer to pray with her. She spoke instead to me. Does he think he can convert me this late in the game?
Thank you so much, Joan. Oh, and I'm going to repeat something that Angela wrote here. You know, it was to you, John, but you know, it's to all of us. We need all of our poems. So glad you read this one. Thank
And
you.
sometimes we need pillow therapy.
Yes.
True story. PT, yeah, we're just going to start saying that. That'll be something I'll say to myself. PT time. Tanya, we're coming to you.
Okay. So like make Arisca Poetica. So this is my book, and then I changed it to my seat because I've been in Zoom all day. So I was sitting in my comfortable chair, but the picture is there on my cover book. And also, I don't know where I could send you a link. Tomorrow, actually, I'm speaking at the SUNY, New York, City of New York University at 5:30. So it's a free event. So if you wanted to come, I'm gonna really go through my book, how I write it and all that kind of stuff. So I'm gonna just give you a little glimpse of like each poem, so just a little bit. This is for Don. So like this is the part of the words still within. I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but like the second part, white man said, no one listen to you. No one sees. Open your mouth. I said, go ahead, cut and burn my tongue. You can set fire to my secrets. My other tongue will speak. I carry my eyes, my bones through this war. That's the part. And the one part from confronting my father's mistress, number 7. Too much silence. I heard the howls of my mothers, their buried sorrows, and their thousands of years gone. I hung up the phone. And one part from the cost of a breath. I want to speak my mind. Instead of a smile, nice girl, don't speak. Their minds or question men. How dare it is to breathe. And one just last part from my anchor poem is Comfort Women. That is for during World War II. There's 200,000 women forced to the sexual slavery. And they called Wianbu in Korean and Comfort Women in English. So I'm just gonna read 2 parts of that one. 1941, that autumn. Autumn night, Japanese soldiers, withering swords, dragged me away. While I was gathering pine needles that fell from my basket, filling the air with the scent of the white blood. When you scream in your dream, there's no sound. On the maru, grandma's making songpyeon, asking mom, is the water boiling? Will she bring pine needles before my eyeballs fall out? I feel pain there. They put a long stick between my legs. Open up, open, 바깥쪽 senjin. They rage, spraying their sperm. The smell of a burning dog, burning life, panting, grunting on top of me. Under my blood, I am dying. 1943, Shanghai, China. One night, a soldier asked the older girls, who can do 100 men? I raised my hand, but Sunja did not. The soldiers put her in boiling water, alive, and fed us. What is living? Is Sunja living in me? Thank you.
Ooh, thank you, Tanya. Again, giving voice to such needed voices, you know, things that are left unsaid. Thank you so very much. It just reminded me of working as a rape crisis counselor, and we did poetry therapy, and some of the most incredibly brave poems were from these girls ages 6 to 12, you know, speaking their truth for the very first time. And I remember being speechless when they started reading what they had written and having that same kind of sense of, you know, how important it is to hear this. So thank you for writing it.
Thank you.
Yeah, and my other tongue will speak. I had to say that was one too. And then I want to speak my mind instead of smile. Yes. Susanna, have you next? And then I come to you, Teresa.
Hi. Okay, so this is my most recent book, and this week happens to be its 1-year anniversary for Dead Shark on the N Train. And I've been doing, since the lockdown, this whole past year, I've been reading from this book an average of once every 10 days. So I'm going to do something different. I'm going to read a different poem today. And this is actually from my new project, which is a book-length treatment of a story about the death of a young woman who was collateral damage of J. Edgar Hoover's COINTEL program, a counterintelligence program which targeted feminists, indigenous rights, civil rights activists, anti-war activists, all sorts of groups. And one of the characters in this manuscript is the detective, and this is called The Detective Can't Sleep. If he smokes too much, maybe he won't think too much. So here are the Marlboros, and there are the backup Marlboros, and here are his teeth, a yellowing, broken up roadway of too many cigarettes. He's thinking about a pigeon grazing nearby, a cooing ruin, how every trash pigeon in New York City is descended from a banded homing pigeon that didn't go straight home. Nights he tosses, sweats. It's the D-ball, steroid for weightlifting. It's the rust-colored stain on his bedroom ceiling that looks like a fish, one with no insides, like the drawing a child makes. But there are no children playing here, his woman not looking at him fondly. It's the dead that keep him awake, and a crowd like today at a double feature of the gorgeous, grotesque, hovering, noticing something not right.
Susanna, I look forward to hearing more from that. That is awesome. Thank you so much. Wow, I am just speechless. Yeah, bravo is what Cindy just said. And then I also wanted to point out that Angie put the link to Tanya's event tomorrow in the chat section. So if you did want to make sure that you get it now, because the chat section will close out when we end. Wow, this has been an amazing open mic. Teresa, I'm heading towards you. Thank you.
Thank you. A vagabond's thoughts. We hang our harps in the cottonwoods because music has abandoned us. Hate and discontent bleeds down our faces. We are not born with this heavy load. It is acquired on our forbidden journeys. Perhaps we should consider a new breed of courage. Dig deep within and reconnect to that thing called love. Whatever that positive energy means to you, pick up that banner and shout loud. The universe is waiting with thin patience for humanity's embrace. She sends painful cries in storms, tsunamis, earthquakes, and fires. She heats up the planet trying to get our attention. Oh, my beloved stained Homo sapiens, open your eyes and hearts. Rediscover the love within you and restore your natural state. Drop your weapons of hate, greed, vanity, and lust. Retrieve your hearts from the cottonwoods and play your music of love. The universe is waiting for its massage. Thank you.
Thank you, Teresa. Yeah, a lot of people resonated also, especially with the line, "We are not born with this heavy load." Thank you. Oh, y'all have been fabulous. Don, thank you so very much. Thank you all who have attended and read tonight. I am speechless. Oh, smokes. Thank you. Be well. Yes, fabulous. Yep, what a fabulous poem to leave on. Agreed. Thank you, Teresa. Yep. And a great night and a good reading. Thanks, Susanna. Very true. All right, Don, I will send the link to you when we have it. Be well and hope to see you next week if you can. Bye, guys.